really hoping that there's audio. Yes, there is. What's going on, everybody? Brian Pierce from Seat Time here. Haven't done an interview in a while, so I figured I want to talk to some people that have a lot of good things to say about the industry and what's going to be coming up for 2013. So we've got that going on. But one of the other people that I've got to meet when I was at the ISDE earlier this year, 2012 with Jason Hooper, was Josh Strang. We even slept in the same hotel room one night, which I have to say was pretty cool. He's an awesome dude, and so we get him here tonight. So let's just introduce him. Mr. Josh Strang, how is your evening going, kind sir?
It's not too bad tonight. It's a bit getting kind of chilly out here in California this week anyway, so just staying inside and cooking some dinner right now, watching Monday Night Football, and on Seat Time here right now.
Yeah? Well, this is I have to ask, but this is probably your first time on Seat Time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What do you think? So far, we're doing okay?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that was really awesome was, I guess it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, was the ISDE. I have heard about this thing my whole life. I've always tried to follow it the past couple years, but I actually got to go this past year. Paid my own way, but that's okay. Hung out with Mr. Jason Hooper from Digital Off-Road, and you guys are good friends. You know, right now, you live West Coast, he lives East Coast still, but, you know, being able to hang out with you and talk to you, it really gave me some different insights from, you know, a rider's perspective. So you've done the ISDE 3 years now. So give us a little bit of history of what you've learned, how you've kind of gone through all the stuff that's happened and led up to this year. Now we'll talk about your placement in a bit. So, but give us a little bit of history on the ISDE for you.
Well, my first year was in 2006 in New Zealand, and it was my first 6 day I'd done, and it was New Zealand. So I mean, it was close and it was easy to travel. It was only a 4-hour plane flight from Australia because I was still in Australia at that point.
Right.
And I mean, it was a lot easier than, say, a rookie flying to like Germany, for instance,
right,
or something like that. So I mean, it was definitely different, and New Zealand was fun for me. I enjoyed it, and we have in Australia they have a 4-day enduro, which is the same format as the 6 day.
That's actually about to start right now too, isn't it?
I think today it started.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good lead up and good practice for people going to their first 6 day, and New Zealand was good. I ended up the day I went to go test my bike, from getting out of the crate, the thing seized on the way to the test track. So
that's never
so
good.
it didn't start all that great for me, but it ended up being good, and I think Australia finished second or third, maybe third in the junior team I was on that year, and then I moved to the States in 2007 and went to Chile in 2007, and that was a sand track, and I mean that was completely different compared to New Zealand. New Zealand was like real hilly and slippery and wet, and then Chile was just all sand. So I mean it was 2 completely different events, and then I had the last 4 years off or whatever it's been from 2007 to this year, and I got to race this year, which I was real happy about.
Yeah, it was. I think that you guys. I know you guys did extremely well this year, but one of the things that was completely resilient was how injured your whole team was. I don't think, you know, I don't have the picture pulled up. I could put it up on Facebook later, but I mean, like Glenn Kearney's knee, for example. I mean, like 21 stitches altogether, 7 internal, 13 external. You know, we got Toby Price getting beat up. You got beat up. And one of your other guys was out on the last day. I mean, you guys really went through a lot of struggles this year to still come away with a second place. You know, so mentally, as a rider, what do you have to do for not just yourself, but as well your team, to kind of keep the momentum going and make it to where, you know, people don't start losing heart and, you know, they stay in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Australians, I think, for a long time have always been known to be like tough and people that never quit, and that was a good example this year, especially of Glenn with that knee. I mean, I think if that happened to my knee, I would have quit. And
it was serious.
Not because I'm a quitter, but because that cut was, it wasn't just like a cut that from a Stanley knife. That thing was like from a chainsaw.
Yeah.
It was a real cut, and like for that to happen and me see Glenn not quit through that makes me, as a team member, quit complaining and try as hard as I can, you know. And I think that everyone saw. I think Glenn's was the big deal breaker for the Australian team. I mean, everyone saw it, and everyone saw him come home from the hospital with stitches, and we're all asking him, we're like, "Are you riding tomorrow?" And I don't think he was ever not planning on quitting. So I mean, from the moment he took his knee brace off, he was like, "I'm still racing," and I mean, to me that's really cool for him to finish. And then Toby with the ribs in the end, having a couple of broken ribs and still doing top 10 times at almost every test is also pretty good.
Yeah. Kind of one of the, I guess, little things that I noticed, and by no means am I picking on Team USA here, but say, like, you know, because of the fact that Hooper and I would walk by kind of talk to different teams after the days, we talked to, you know, the Team Australia, and you guys always, even when, you know, Glenn was there with his busted knee and everything, had such a great vibe, such a happy mood in the pits. And, you know, say if we were to go over to USA, we didn't really catch that all the time. Now, you know, as you said, Australians are kind of known for not quitting. It seems that you guys are also a little bit more jovial in a lot of senses. But I guess my main question is, you guys also, I don't know if you get paid to be there, but your way is paid. But then a lot of the USA guys, that's not the case. With some of the bigger guys, it might be. Do you think that something like that would really maybe play into how hard or how crazy somebody's going to push it to really just make sure the team gets the best, you know, finish they're going to have?
I don't know. I mean, if I was paying my own way, like, yeah, Motorcycling Australia pays majority of the trophy and junior trophy team riders. That pays majority of their way to get to the 6 days each year. And I mean, that's something that I mean, American riders get everything. From experience I've had, American riders, and myself included, get everything handed to us on a platter.
Okay.
Like, we don't have to. The Australians still like a privateer kind of class. Even Toby's making a living racing, and there's some of the other guys like Glenn and Holt, like pretty much the trophy team there making salaries in Australia. But even though they're getting paid, it's still not anything compared to an intermediate guy here in the States as far as product and getting support goes.
Right.
And I think the Aussies are happy that someone's paying for them to go overseas and race internationally against world-class riders, you know.
Yeah.
And then and also kind of lost here, but
that's okay.
But like if I was paying, but what I was getting at, if I had to pay my own way to get to Germany, I'd try and be happy, and I'd try as hard as I could, because I know it's a waste of money if we're not working hard. And I mean, that's I saw a little bit of the same in the American team. I'm good friends with some of them, and they just some of them just didn't seem to think they were trying as hard as I believe they could have.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear you say that. Again, my first experience being at that high level of a high level of an international event, that was crazy. Watching the French guys do what they were doing, and I mean, just all the teams, and especially I think like some of the newer guys, they maybe didn't know how to handle some of the pressure. They knew that they could ride really well, or say newer guys on the USA team. They were riding great, but they didn't know if what they thought was great was good enough, and they thought they were doing really good, and they didn't. I mean, there was a lot of variables that were going on there. So, obviously you're still going to be on Australia. You're still going to want to win. You're going to want to beat the USA guys. But I think that everybody, including some of the guys on your team, learned so much. And I think y'all know how to win, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, do you think that you have a shot at winning, in the next year or two?
Yeah, I believe Australia, especially, and I mean America as well. They have on paper their team this year was good. The Germany 6-day was very European,
right?
And the closest that American riders get to riding in Europe is the GNCC. I think I've never done National Enduro, but National Enduro is so much tighter than anything we rode at the 6-day, even any trail whatsoever, that you can't compare it. Can't compare National Enduro to 6 days. And so I think the closest that any of the tests got to any of the American riding is GNCC. So that's Mullins and Thad.
Yeah.
And Thad was on junior trophy. So, I mean, as far as the senior trophy goes for America, Charlie was the only one who was ready to race those kind of special tests.
Yeah.
And I think Kurt and Taylor, Destry, Brownie, and then even Russell, because he does National Enduro, weren't as prepared as all the other countries. And with Australia having special tests, which is like 6-day format, back in Australia, I think they're more prepared, even though we were still off the pace of the French guys. Yeah. But
everybody was off their pace.
In the next couple of years, I think if Australia keeps sending their best team, I think we can get closer to the French. And I mean, I hate losing. So I've told Motorcycling Australia I want to go again next year, and so far that's my only goal, because that's all I've got going next year is 6 days at the moment. So I'll be at Italy, I think it is, in 2013, and I'll be riding as hard as I can. I mean, that'd be so sweet to get the World Trophy for Australia.
Yeah, I think I completely agree. If I was on a World Trophy team, I would be super stoked for something like that. Okay, so you led into 2013 a little bit there. That's obviously something that a lot of us who have watched the GNCCs and really kind of come to know you as an East Coast rider, we've watched you in the West Coast. I can't say we've seen you struggle. You've done amazingly well at the races that you've done, but you haven't done a ton of races besides some of the work stuff. So for 2013, is there any talk about rides coming up, maybe you coming back to the East Coast, any of that kind of stuff that you can kind of key in for us?
So far, I mean, 2013, I want to do GNCC again as a main series, and I mean, I like this year the works was good for me. I struggled with my leg injury and with bike setup a little bit, but I think next year I want to get back to GNCC and then some works and maybe some other one-off races as well, maybe some motocross, who knows. And as far as team deals go, I'm trying to work on some things right now, but still not much going on.
Yeah, but then you're going to be, I mean, you're still going to, like, I know you've been riding a Moose for a long time and the X-brand goggles and things like that. Is that still going to be something that you're going to be running next year?
You just cut out there for a minute. Oh. Go again.
Oh, I was saying, didn't know if you were going to be, like, say, you've been with Moose for a while. I didn't know if you're going to be, still wearing Moose and the X-brand goggles and things like that.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, sometimes if I went to a different team or something, sometimes they have team sponsors that you have to go with. But so far, I'll be staying with Moose again and X-brand and all the sponsors that have been with me for a few years, like City and Shoei, and so hopefully all that can figure out, and I can take those guys with me to the same team for GNCC or for whatever I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. I have to get your opinion on this. I mean, it's something that we kind of have to talk about because it was very unfortunate that it happened to you after you won your GNCC Championship in 2010 with Suzuki pulling out of off-road. Now we know that Kawasaki Racing is kind of pulling their off-road team. So not just what is this, what do you think of that, but because you've been through it, you have that experience, what does this mean to the riders, the main riders that they were supporting, and then what does it mean for the industry? What does the industry do to try to rebound, and what do you think things look like for 2013 and 2014 with all these new riders in the pot?
I don't. I mean, it's cool for the like as far as GNCC goes. With Kawasaki pulling out of works, that doesn't leave. It leaves not much factory backing for the series, so it may lead to some of those guys coming back east to race GNCC full time, which I mean would be pretty cool to see some new faces there and some more riders on the pro road. But yeah, that as far as those guys pulling out, it's pretty much the same deal. I mean, they at least had a press release, and they at least told their guys.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get told pretty much, and there was no press release about Suzuki. So it sucks that they've pulled out as well. I'm not sure what it means as far as other manufacturers pulling back budgets and that sort of stuff. I sure hope not, but we'll see. I don't know whether those two companies are going to get back into it anytime soon, or what. I mean, it's hard to figure out, and hopefully for my sake and everyone else's sake that gets paid to race off road, everything stays pretty good and can work itself out. Because if not, it's I guess we'll be all sweeping floors at Walmart or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, is it out of sorts for you to say maybe that, grab 3 or 4 guys from out west and just go move into a house somewhere in the east, and just you guys live out of the same van and make it to all the races, just to get out there and show that you can still do it, that you want to race and that you want to get paid to do it? I mean, is something like that totally out of context, or?
No, I mean, if that comes down to it, I mean, there's still rides available, and I think those guys that got canned there at Cowie there, I think they'll be able to find something.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be as much as or as good as what they were on, but I'm sure they'll figure something out, whether it's east or west. And I mean, there's still stuff going around, and if you know, it's all about what you know, who you know, not what you know.
Right.
It's not how fast you can go. It's still about who you know and who's got money and all that sort of stuff. Especially for off-road, like the inside the industry budgets go straight to Supercross and Motocross, and then off-road guys get the scraps. We get leftovers, and sometimes there isn't any leftovers. But I mean, if you know someone outside the industry, that's where money's going to be coming from now on. I think is outside the industry funding.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, and we've definitely seen that start to happen with a couple Supercross teams coming in. Obviously, Red Bull and Monster were outside the industry sponsors at one point in time. Now they seem to be taking over as main sponsors for teams. So, yeah, I definitely think that something like that's going to happen. And when we talk about sponsors, it's always good to thank the people that do sponsor you. The people that sponsor us here at Seat Time is Fly Racing, and I have to say thank you very much to Fly Racing. Everybody, please, you should take your little phone out or your little browser, big browser, whatever, flyracing.com. Go check them out. Please support the people that support Seat Time. Make sure that they have a good time. We love being a partner. Good stuff's coming around for 2013. Thanks to them for sponsoring what's been going on. All right, flyracing.com. Hook them up. Now, I did check in with Jason Hooper to find out some weird stuff, and I didn't get much. He said he was having issues thinking through some of the deals that he could come up with. But one of them was 2009 at Ironman. He said that there was a time where you forgot to clean your Camelback. And we wanted to know just how awesome that must have tasted to have such a nice, nasty Camelback.
I'm trying to remember. There was, I mean, usually I know I've cleaned it, but I think over, like Ironman being the last race, what I think I used to do I could get 4 or 5 races out of one Camelback bladder, and then I'd replace it. But I think that year I'd left it maybe a few too many races, and then we had maybe the summer break too, so it's hot and humid. And by Ironman, it might have got a little mouldy in the hose, and I think what he's talking about, on the way home, I ended up puking in one of the gas station toilets, and it wasn't because I was drunk. It was I think the mold just got to my stomach, and plus a tough day riding at Ironman. I think everyone that rides Ironman knows it's a pretty rough track. So I think just everything added up, and the mouldy Camelback didn't help. Yeah.
All right. Quickly, you mentioned it. We have to say Ironman being a tough race. XC1 class 1 point apart. XC2 class 1 point apart. Going down to Loretta Lynn's. Do you have any thoughts about what's coming up at Loretta Lynn's with those guys?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure. Loretta, and I think the bikes race on Saturday, so there'll be no quad tracks.
Correct.
Which could make it more difficult to pass and that sort of stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting for sure. Both classes with Caleb and Charlie, and then Stuart and Jason in the XC2 class. So it's gonna be tricky. I think Charlie might coming off this win. I think Charlie would be strong at Loretta's, so maybe he'll be able to run away with the win, and then the other two can battle it out.
Oh,
but
that would be awesome.
I don't know. Either way, it's gonna be interesting. I just hope team tactics don't play any part, and I know there's some of that going on. I just hope none of that comes into it. I hope both Caleb and Paul battle it out.
I agree.
Till the final corner, and just those two alone, you know, because I believe if you win a championship, you should be winning it by yourself, not because someone tells the other guy to slow up or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the XC2 guys, those guys are so crazy anyway that they won't listen to what someone tells them. They'll just go batshit crazy until one of them wins. So I mean, that either way, those guys are going to be going at it, and just from watching videos and that, you know those guys are crazy. So that'll be cool. And then I just hope the XC1 class is legit, and those boys go at it, because it will be a good race, and I think whoever wins deserves it for sure.
Awesome. Well, I completely agree. I kind of wish that they could just say, Paul Whibley and Caleb Russell, you guys are going to start 10 seconds in front of the rest of the XC1 class, and do the same thing for the XC2, just to possibly put them out front, and have them battle from the very beginning to start it off. I mean, they can't do that because of rules, but it would be cool if something like that were to work out. All right, now before we close this up, I know you got your potato in the oven, I believe it is, as you said it.
Yes. Sweet potato.
Sweet potato. Ooh, staying healthy. I like it. Looking for the nutrients. Eat the skin. It's good for you. That's what my mom tells me, okay? But we need an Aussie slang saying. We need something. I want maybe something that's sounds great, or maybe a slang term that you have that you've used that completely caught somebody off guard and just created some kind of awkward moment. Do you have anything off the top of your head?
There's plenty of things, but some of them probably aren't so appropriate.
Well, you're not going to hurt my feelings, but
you hung out with us at the whole Australian team, and I know I have a clean mouth compared to some of those boys.
Yes.
So. But nah, I don't know. I don't know. There is a lot of stuff we say, but I never take any notice of it. You know, the one thing since I've been over here, I always have trouble getting ice at restaurants.
Getting ice? Just like getting ice?
Yeah, like if I like ice in my orange juice.
Oh.
Sort of stuff. And usually orange juice doesn't come with ice,
right.
So if I ask ice, I don't know whether it sounds weird to you, but some people can't understand. I had to ask for frozen water one day. I'd asked for ice about 4 or 5 times, and finally I just had to ask for frozen water. And I mean, that's just an accent thing, but as far as slang goes, I know a lot of Americans say we root for Paul Whibley or root for Josh Strang. Rooting in Australia is not cheering someone on. So we got, when someone says that to us, are we going to root you on? We have a little private chuckle to ourselves, and usually if you hear the Aussies saying, we're going to go get a root, it doesn't mean we're going to go cheer someone on. So I mean, for people listening, they can probably figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah, we could probably tell them how to Google it, right?
It's not PG anyway. So.
Right. Yeah, that's okay. Most of this
there's the indication of what it means,
right.
But just silly little stuff like that. And I told you earlier I was going to be cooking a feed tonight,
yeah.
So cooking dinner, and that's about it right now off the top of my head. So
right.
I mean, if someone was to hang out with me, I'm sure they'd figure it out. They hang out with any Aussie, actually. Some of the things I hear from other Aussies is even funny to me as well. So,
is it because maybe they're in a sense more redneck, or are they just from a different part of Australia?
Yeah, different parts of the country, they're more hillbilly or redneck or whatever you want to call them, and different parts of the country also have different names for things. So I mean, there's some words that I haven't even heard that I'll hear occasionally, and it's like, man, what's that mean? And I'm Aussie, but anyway, that's how it goes, I guess. Same as over here, you go to California and people talk like they talk on TV, so you can understand them. But then you go to North Carolina, and
yeah,
and what some of them say,
yeah, or West Virginia, and then you know you got issues.
So, but anyway,
yeah, cool, man. Well, you're right. I mean, everybody definitely with all their different places. But I think what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna like maybe on a monthly basis, just be like, okay, I need you to text me some kind of fun Australian slang, and that way I can always just put it up on the internet for people to enjoy and have fun with. What do you think?
Yeah.
Not the worst idea?
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you look for stuff like this is Seat Time. You can find us at seattime.co is the website where all of the shenanigans go on. If you happen to be a Facebook person, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime, and as well, Twitter, twitter.com/seattime_co if you'd like to tweet us real hard. Josh Strang, if you'd like to really quick, do you have possibly a social thingy?
Yeah, Josh Strang is Twitter, or I don't know how you work it, at Josh Strang.
Yeah. And
then, I've got Facebook. I got a Facebook page that I try and update. A little bit slack about it at the moment. It's same, Josh Strang, an athlete page. And then also Instagram, which is also Josh Strang.
Man, that's pretty easy stuff there, huh?
So it's pretty cool. The social media's kind of taken off the last few years. So I try and get on there and put some cool photos up on Instagram and tweet some cool stuff on Twitter and I mean, I try my hardest. So
that's okay. Well, we appreciate the fact that you do. It really does help as a fan to be able to see that kind of stuff, you know, and see that you're normal and that you take the same kind of crazy pictures that we do and say the same weird shit. So I think it's awesome. Keep doing it. Definitely want to say thank you very much for joining us on Seat Time. I had a great time in that hotel room with you, even though Jason Hooper had to be between us on the bed, or we had separate beds, but still, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of fun. Maybe we could do it again next year. I'm just kidding. We don't have to. I'll talk you into it, though. All right. Enjoy your potato. Have fun out there, and we'll see you next time, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right,
Thanks
dude.
for
Enjoy
having
a
me
pint full of awesome, and we will. We will have you next time, and enjoy it.
Yeah. Right.
Later, man.
See ya.